What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Today's video is another Eddie and Thor video. And, you know, a couple people have been wondering, you know, when is this going to end? Is this good for the sport? Is it bad for the sport? Truthfully, I honestly hope it continues on forever and I can keep making videos, you know. I just started this YouTube thing, so these ones are actually getting a little momentum going. So yeah, I hope they keep fighting forever. Or at least, you know, give me another couple months so I can catch up on my YouTube stuff. But what happened was Eddie came out with a video that had unseen footage from World's Strongest Man 2017 in Botswana, Africa. In strongman, we have a very small community. There's not very many top-tier strongmen in the world, and you know, even less people who are willing to finance strongman, put on shows. It's not a huge conglomerate, you know. So it's one of these things that it's easy to make waves, and I'm gonna do my best to be honest with you guys, because I'm not gonna ever BS you. I'll never lie on this. I'll never BS you, and I'll tell you the truth. And if I don't want to answer something, I'll even tell you that. I'm gonna do my best to be diplomatic, we'll say. In 2017, Botswana, Africa was the first year that I missed going to World's Strongest Man in my professional career. I was there the year before, and I was there the year afterwards. It was the one time I'd missed, and it was due to bicep injury. But I paid very close attention to what was going on. I knew the events, I knew the people. I was very much in connection with everyone who was there. Paid attention to everything as it was coming out, all the little home videos and sneak peeks that we all get when you're here and we're there competing. You know, I was the one at home just stuck on my phone watching it. So when it came along, I saw everything unfold, and then afterwards spoke to everyone. Obviously, I've been working with people from both sides this, you know, up until now. It's the year of the COVID 2020, and I'm still working with them. It's not something that I expect most people to understand, but when you commit to a sport like strongman, you're basically an outcast of outcasts. It's like some people like to work out. Some people take that serious and like to be strong. And then it's the specific type of weirdo who's like, nah, I'm gonna go all the way. I'm gonna see what I can do, and I don't care if it kills me. That's a rare human being. To be a top tier athlete like that, you have to commit everything. And Eddie came out with the video and explained how when he won in 2017, immediately after, there was this barrage of stuff through the media and everything saying that Thor was calling him a cheater. Thor was saying he's never going to do it again, never going to compete at World's Strongest Man again. And he basically just said that he deserved to be the winner that year, and they cheated him out of it because he did what we call double dipping on a Viking press. Now, just to back it up a little bit in case you don't know what that is, Viking press is a fixed press, an overhead press, where you have a fixed machine. 2017, it was behind them, and you're pressing right here on a fixed machine. Double dipping is when you bend your knees to do the press, and then you bend your knees a second time to catch the weight. In our sport, that's not allowed. In Viking press, is not allowed. You're allowed to double dip when you're doing a free press of like a log, an axle, or anything like that. But when you're on a fixed machine, the rule is you're not allowed to double dip. And in the video, you see the rules being gone over in the boneyard, which for us, the boneyard, when you go to World's Strongest Man, is this separate little area that we all get to test out the equipment. Colin Bryce comes out there and he shows us all the stuff. Magnus comes out there, shows us everything, asks if we have any questions. They'll even go over stuff like they did in 2017 with Thor, specifically explaining that, hey, you have a habit of bending your knees more than you should watch out for that. I don't know how to put it lightly. When I go into a Viking press, I don't think I'm going to lose to anybody. I'm not worried about it. I don't do magic tricks. I don't bend my knees. I don't do anything cheap. Not that it's cheap. I don't do anything. I don't cut any corners on a press. I do a very strict job. As far as competition goes, when we go into a press, I don't have any questions, really. It's just who's going to come in second place. When we go into a squat, I do pay attention to those things. When we go to deadlift, I go in and I make sure like our depth is like exactly where we both agree, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very familiar with the boneyard and the process that happens when you're preparing the week before World's Strongest Man and you're actually at the event there with the people. It showed something that I already knew and I'd already seen, that he was given warning and everything else, and then, you know, it got to the end, to the unseen footage, and it was kind of hard to watch part of it. I'll just, spoiler alert, I felt Eddie was right, and you can tell that by, you know, our friendship and the connection we have is, you know, obviously we mess with each other, but like I'd developed my relationship kind of after all that and knowing that. So Eddie put his guts on the line and did everything it took to win, and a big piece of that was taken from him. A big piece of that was, you know, at least temporarily soiled. You know, it came out on Fox News and all this stuff. Like, it was a big story. Thor got cheated for World's Strongest Man, and I don't know why it took 3 more years for people to finally like care enough for it to be talked about in such a big way. But, you know, like Eddie and Thor, the fight and all that stuff, and people are talking about if they think it's a work, are they really buddies and they're just pretending. They're not. They maintained a professional career after that happened. When Thor said Eddie had cheated and the whole thing ended and all that stuff went down, it was very, very tense. And then Eddie started doing commentating, and so Eddie stepped away from it, the competitive mentality, and was, you know, he treated him like a commentator does an athlete. And it doesn't matter if you had beef back then, that passes. We're adults, we're trying to feed our families, go to work, you know what I mean? It's definitely not a work. They dislike each other. I would say the work or the shoot in wrestling terms for them was actually working together after 2017. I don't think it takes anything away from what Thor's done. Thor won 2018 and was the strongest man in the world for that year. He was, and it's kind of the ultimate trump card to be like, you know, I am the strongest man on the planet. So I want you to understand that this video, I don't mean anything disrespectful. I don't mean anything against Thor with this video. I don't think he's a bad person, anything. I think he fought his ass off, and he was having a hard time already. He had the Bell's palsy that he was dealing with. He was dealing with a whole bunch of issues with his home life, and he fought and came within 1 point of winning World's Strongest Man. And it hurt him. It didn't break him, but it momentarily crushed him. And when that happens, just like when you see these fighter interviews right afterwards and everything, you say a bunch of emotional stuff. And it's because you're so invested. There's no room to be cool when you're 100% invested in competition. If I'm ready to die for this and I don't get it, I don't care if I look stupid complaining afterwards. I was ready to die for that. So this doesn't take anything away from Thor. That's the weird part about it is, yes, it's true that Thor should not have done that, and it's true that it took something from Eddie in the moment, but we're not who we used to be. We all get a chance to grow and change, and we all have a chance to make mistakes. I think in the time that's happened since then, both Eddie and Thor have both changed a lot. They've both matured in different ways, and Thor's a family man now. He's very well leveled. He seems like he's got himself in a great place, and I don't think this labels Thor at all. This doesn't change who he is to me. And I know it's kind of a weird thing to say when you're making a video saying someone's wrong, to also say that they're not a worse person for it. And the only way I can defend that is you guys got to realize this was 3 years ago. I think that him running his mouth after losing is to be expected, and it doesn't mean anything as to who he is right now. Congratulations to Eddie and Thor for having such a successful life and being such enigmatic characters that everybody in the world wants to know who's going to win. Everyone wants to know when they put the gloves on and step in the ring, who's going to knock whose head off. That's no small feat. That's impressive. You've got a lifetime of work, and it's come to this point where they're actually finally going to get paid for it. So I don't begrudge anybody for collecting their money. Truth be told, I hope we can keep making these videos. We're getting more people to watch them. Everybody wants to know what I know about Eddie and Thor. You guys make sure you subscribe, and I'll keep telling you. And I actually have a fight that looks like it's coming together. So you guys keep your interest up for Eddie and Thor, and maybe the American Monster step in the ring. I've been talking to a couple people, and I think the best suggestions so far are definitely the vegan Pat. And the only thing with that is I don't know how big he is in real life. If his height and weight on the internet reflect the way he's put his training numbers on the internet, he's probably going to be about 4 feet tall and 170 pounds. So if that's true, I don't know if I could fight him. That might be against the law. But if Patrick is out there and he is of substantial size, enough that it doesn't make it ridiculous, I'd be happy to jump in the ring with him. Also, Martin Ford, good buddy of mine from England. He's actually already a fighter, so it's kind of a disadvantage to me, but I also outweigh him by a bit. He's a big boy. Martin Ford's a good fight. I love that he's from England, and honestly, I don't have to hate the person I'm fighting. I don't really have, like, we can be athletes. I mean, if I dislike the person, it's nice, that fits the, you know, talking trash narrative, but I don't have to dislike the person. It can just as easily be my buddy Martin Ford. But I do have a feeling that both of them are going to see this, ignore it, and go back to their homes and hide. So I don't think it's going to happen. I got somebody else who is on the line, though, and we'll see what does happen. Until then, stay strong and stay pretty, guys.